Some moments in motorsport don't just disappoint you. They leave you completely still, staring at nothing, unable to process what you just watched unfold. The 2026 Daytona 500 delivered exactly that kind of moment. Because when a driver is holding the lead of the most prestigious race in stock car racing with fewer than 3 miles left on the clock, something shifts. You can feel the weight of what's about to happen. History feels close enough to touch, and then it's gone in a single blink on a single lap. That's the cruel beauty of Daytona International Speedway. It doesn't acknowledge your preparation, it doesn't reward your patience, and it certainly doesn't care how flawlessly you've managed 497 miles of race. The final lap is its own universe entirely. Now let's talk about what really happened on February 15th, 2026 at Daytona International Speedway. Carson Hocevar arrived at Daytona this year, carrying real momentum. At 23 years old, the Portage, Michigan native had just come off a 2024 Rookie of the Year campaign with Spire Motorsports, piloting the number 77 Spectrum Chevrolet. In 2025, he'd quietly built a resume worth noticing. 2 top 5 finishes, 9 top 10 results, and a career-best second-place run at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Progress was undeniable, but Speed Weeks 2026 tested him before the main event even started. Hocevar ran all 3 NASCAR National Series during the week: Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup, making him the only driver pulling triple duty at Daytona that entire week. That's an enormous physical and mental load to carry heading into the biggest race of the season. In his Thursday qualifying race, he finished second behind Chase Elliott and locked in a 6th-place starting spot for Sunday. Ideal positioning going into race day. Friday night in the truck race was a completely different story. He won Stage 1, collected stage points, and looked sharp out front. Then the weekend turned on him hard. 3 separate spins, tire failures, and his truck actually shut off while he was running up front. He finished 35th with a DNF. Saturday's Xfinity race wasn't much kinder to him. He was collected in 2 separate multi-car incidents throughout the afternoon and crossed the line in 20th place. 2 races in, 2 rough results, and yet Sunday was still ahead of him. From the opening laps, the Daytona 500 itself was pure chaos. 25 different lead changes in the first stage alone, 65 total by the end of the race. A brand new record for this event. It was exactly the kind of afternoon where strategy mattered just as much as raw speed. Hocevar read it perfectly from start to finish. He pitted early under a lap 6 caution to take control of his fuel window. When Stage 1 wrapped up on lap 65, most of the field headed to pit road, but Hocevar stayed out, came across the timing line in 4th place, and banked 7 valuable stage points. His Spire teammates Daniel Suarez and Michael McDowell also scored points, and the entire organization looked sharp and well-coordinated all afternoon. Stage 2 brought the kind of carnage that Daytona is truly infamous for. On lap 124, a massive 20-car accident unfolded in the trio valve as contact between multiple cars sent sheet metal flying in every direction. Hocevar came through completely untouched. Why? Because he had been running conservatively toward the rear of the field, carefully managing his fuel situation. Patience at Daytona is very often its own reward. As the final stage developed, fuel strategy became the single most important deciding variable race. Hocevar, teammate McDowell, the 2021 Daytona 500 winner, were working together in tandem, communicating about timing and track positioning. The plan was straightforward. Use the drafting partnership to push Hocevar toward the front and deliver a Spire Motorsports car to victory. Then the white flag came out. 2.5 miles of racing stood between Carson Hocevar and his first ever Cup Series victory and Daytona 500 immortality. Here's the detail that makes this story almost impossible to believe. Hocevar had been dealing with radio communication issues throughout the entire race day. As he took the white flag at the start of the final lap, he reportedly didn't fully register that he was leading with 1 lap to go. He didn't know he was 1 circuit away from winning the Daytona 500. Think about what that actually means for a moment. As the field charged hard down the backstretch, the top lane began generating a massive draft run toward the front. Eric Jones in the number 43 Toyota made contact with Hocevar's car. He drifted slightly off-center, full racing speed. Whether it came down to a lane choice, a reaction to the sudden air pressure shift, or simply the raw unpredictability of Daytona superspeedway drafting, he made contact with the outside wall. It was over in an instant. Behind him, total chaos erupted across the entire field. Riley Herbst threw a last-second block on Brad Keselowski, collecting more cars in the process. Chase Elliott hit the wall before the checkered flag even had a chance to wave. Through all of that smoke and carnage, one car came through completely clean. Tyler Reddick in the number 45 Toyota for 2311 Racing, co-owned by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin, had led exactly one lap all afternoon long. The last one, he crossed the stripe to win the 2026 Daytona 500. Second went to Ricky Stenhouse Jr., third to Joey Logano, who slid across the finish line completely sideways. Carson Hocevar ended up 18. You could hear the composure in his post-race comments, the kind of measured professionalism that takes real discipline when you've just been that close to something truly massive in your career. But the weight behind every word was obvious to anyone paying attention. Here's something genuinely worth noting, though. That 18th place finish was actually Hocevar's best career result at the Daytona 500. His two previous starts have produced a 40th and a 30th place finish respectively. The trajectory is pointing in exactly the right direction. Those 7 stage points from early in the race place him 9th in the early season standings with 36 points heading into the rest of 2026. That's not a consolation prize. That's a real and meaningful foundation to build an entire season on. More importantly, what Hocevar demonstrated on that Sunday afternoon will not be forgotten inside the NASCAR garage. He controlled a superspeedway race for the better part of 500 miles. He managed a complex fuel strategy, coordinated tirelessly with his teammates, avoided catastrophic incidents race long, and put himself in position to win the biggest single-day race in American motorsport. The trophy didn't come home, but the statement he made was absolutely unmistakable. Early season confidence is a compounding resource in NASCAR racing. Drivers carry it into every race that follows, and when the playoff cutoff races arrive and the pressure peaks beyond anything else in the schedule, what a driver learned about themselves in moments like this shapes everything about how they respond to it. There are races in this sport that break drivers down completely, and there are races that sharpen them into something better. Based on everything we witnessed at Daytona on February 15th, this one is going to sharpen Carson Hocevar. We want to hear from you right now. Was this just hard super speedway racing, a lame decision that didn't pay off in the end, or just Daytona doing exactly what Daytona always does? Drop your full take down in the comments below, because if the 2026 Daytona 500 proved anything at all in this sport, the difference between glory and heartbreak is always measured in it.